was Archbishop William Temple who famously said years ago that the church is the one society that exists for everybody else. I think that was a wise and prescient statement about who we are as Christians. For years as a parish priest, I always saw my role to facilitate God's people being God's people in God's world, not in the church. If they stayed in the confines, the restrictions of a local church, that is, to worship and live and move our being inside, and didn't have a sense of being sent out into God's world to be God's people, then we are actually dysfunctional and unfaithful. So my role was always to help people live out basically their baptismal covenant out into the world, to transform the unjust structures of our world, to care for God's people, the powerless, the dispossessed, those who have been forgotten by the elites, I said, and also to work to safeguard the integrity of the creation. You, of course, will recognize these principles because they are contained within our marks of mission. These are our marching orders, our core values as Christians. We can't stay in the house. You've got to go out to meet the people and to love as Jesus loved us. This is what he did. He went about, he didn't stay in the synagogues, he didn't stay at the temple, visited them, but that's not where he lived, moved, and had his being in terms of proclaiming God's kingdom of love so that we all may be transformed according to God's purposes. In a few moments, you're going to hear the stories of three remarkable ministries of people who are engaged in the public square. I think you'll be as excited about these ministries as I am, so please listen.
My name is Glenda Fisher, and I'm the deacon here at All Saints Anglican Church, downtown Windsor. All Saints Church is an inner city church, and my ministry outside the church walls is primarily focused not only on the street, but three agencies, the downtown mission being one, where I work counseling people, also referring them to agencies that are appropriate for them. And I also work as part of the pastoral team at the mission, and I'm responsible for Friday morning services, seeing that they're scheduled and carried out. I work also at St. Leonard's House, which is a residential home for men who have been imprisoned. Within that house, there is what's called the Lifers Program, and that's a program for men who have been sentenced to life terms in prison. And it's to assist them in reintegrating into society and dealing with a lot of the challenges and frustrations that they have. I work also at the Windsor Youth Center, which is a center for youth which is open from 5 o'clock onward during the week. People can go there for dinner, for fellowship, for counseling, companionship, all manner of things. And so I go, I'm a ministry of presence there, and work both with the youth who come to the center and also as support to the staff. I work on the street and in the neighborhoods. I do a lot of walking and talking, and again, I'm present to people. And essentially that's the work I do within this outside the walls of this inner city church. It's in keeping, I think, with the 5 marks of mission that we have, and particularly the third one that I love so much, which is meeting human needs through loving service. And by loving, I mean doing as Christ did. It's not simply feeling, but doing, and informed by a passion for God's people. And that's my work here at All Saints.
My name is Mary Belknap, and I was ordained a deacon in 2008 at All Saints Sarnia. For the past 27 years, I followed Jesus' example and went beyond the church doors into the community. I sit at a table in the food court at the Bayside Center Mall, which is 2 blocks from All Saints Sarnia, where County of Lambton Social Services and Sarnia Housing, Civil Court, and Youth Justice Services are located. In the vicinity of Bayside Center Mall is found St. Vincent de Paul, Mental Health, services, and methadone clinic. I sit in the dining room at the Inn of the Good Shepherd, where the homeless and the marginalized go for lunch. Every day I meet people needing help. What makes me most uncomfortable is that I can't help everyone. There's never enough money, time, or resources. What you do for the least of these who are members of my family, sick, hungry, homeless, oppressed, you do for me, Jesus said. Not, please notice, just the certifiably hungry and deserving. The only criterion Jesus set was least of these. So what I can do and am called to do is not ignore or overlook, but to look into a human face and see the face of Christ, because that is what Jesus said. God is here in the messiness and ambiguity of human life. God is here particularly in our neighborhood with ones who need us most. If we don't try, if we don't offer a helping hand, then we are not living up to our calling. When Jesus tells us, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should love one another. The fundamental lesson Jesus taught, spirit and truth. That is, to live is to love.
Hi, I'm the Reverend Matt Arguin, and I've been serving here at Bishop Cronin Memorial Church for about 3 years. And the ministry that I've been engaged in actually started as an outreach project of the parish. And on Tuesday mornings, we run a meal program for about 2 hours each week. And there was some thought around, how do we extend that beyond the church walls? How do we create a pastoral presence for folks that are in this part of the city, which is very much, it's a lower income part of the city, and you have a lot of people that access social services. And so my job description when I was first hired was to become a street pastor and to be a companion alongside people that are just going through their everyday life and might want some support. A big chunk of my day is usually loitering with intent, to quote one of my colleagues. I spend a lot of time in public spaces. I spend a lot of time just hanging out outside and just engaging with people as they want to and as they need to. Sometimes I'll direct them to services as they need, either for food or for mental health services or whatever. But the main thing is just to be there. And this is a ministry that has been wonderful to be a part of, and something that's been supported both on the local level at the parish here at Cronin, with the Deanery of London, which is the wider body in which I serve for the city, and also, of course, from the diocese. And it's been an awesome, awesome ministry that I think is really important to explore as the church.
It's no accident that we're filming today outside and not in my office. I think that's symbolic of the stories you heard of the three persons who also are not inside but outside, sent to be God's people to transform God's world. You need to know that there are not just three people in our diocese who are exercising this wonderful ministry, but anyone who is baptized is called to exercise that ministry of taking God's love to God's world, not to stay within the confines of the local church.